Well, unfortunately, my little brave hamster Rocky has passed away, so I just wanted to do a memorial video for him in memory and just go through and reflect on the nice little memories I got to have with him. So, because I named him Rocky after the movie, because let me explain why I named him Rocky, and then I'll play the little clip in memoriam of him. But I named him Rocky because when we got him from the pet store, he was like one of the last ones of his litter. There was only like two other hamsters left, and they didn't even look like him, so they probably weren't his siblings. And he was terrified. He's the only hamster I've seen who came out screaming, terrified, and he was scared of everything. So something had traumatized him when he was a baby, and I spent the first month or so or more, you know, showing him that the world isn't scary, making him feel comfortable and safe, and making him feel, secure and protected. And, I nurtured him, spiritually and lovingly and all that, not just with food. So I went through all that effort to bring him out of his shell. And one of the first days that I had him, before I gave him his name, I went up close to him, so I put my face close to his face, like I do with all my hamsters, right? Usually they like that as a sign of respect. They'll give you a little sniff or whatever. It's not like you touch noses, but you go down to their level. So I did that with him, but he got so scared, he actually slapped me. So he took his hand and went whap and hit my face. So as soon as he did that, it was so cute. And I think he did it a second time, at some other point, but because he was so scared, the look on his face was like he was horrified of me, and it's like whapped me. I called him Rocky, so that's where he got the name. He was like a little fighter, like Rocky, and he came a long way from then. So, anyways, I just found this little clip from the Rocky movie, and hopefully it's not copyright. But I thought I was like led to this random clip very quickly in a search, and I was like, I just believe there's gonna be something meaningful in here. So this is a nice little scene. It's got some church music in the background. Rocky's actually saying a prayer before he goes out to fight. And my little Rocky did fight for his life the last 2 weeks in tremendous agony, but it was too much for him. So I think this is very fitting. So Rocky's praying here in this scene with the little church organ music in the background, and just the words that are said over the next 10 minutes because he's about to leave the training room and go off to the boxing ring, right? And his friend or his girlfriend is there saying, "Oh no, stay here," or something like that. And I just think the words are kind of um, meaningful here. So I'll play that, and then when they announce Rocky's name, and then I'll just talk briefly about what Rocky went through and some happy moments in his life. But here we go.
Time, kid. Let's go. I'll wait for you here.
Well, how about I wait here and you fight, huh? You're looking very great today, you know that? Hmm? I gotta go now, but don't you leave town, huh? Wish me luck. I'm gonna need it.
Good luck.
And finally,
Vegas odds say no. Rocky Balboa climbing into the ring now.
there we go. But Rocky Balboa, that was my little Rocky. So, anyways, what happened with Rocky was he had those metal bar cages. He wanted to come out and play, and he broke his tooth. Found out today he actually broke both of his top teeth. It was a tremendously painful time for him. I don't want to go too much into that and make this sound dark and negative, but it was extreme torturous agony for him. And for the first whole week, he was in severe agony. The problem with hamsters is they need to always chew with their incisors because they keep growing. So over the next week, his bottom teeth started to grow up and were touching the roof of his mouth, which I didn't know until today when I brought him in. But this morning I went to check on him. He hadn't been eating for about 24 hours, so I was concerned. And he was bobbing like he was about to die. So, anyways, I took him in. They said his skin was blue. He was very cold. He had a lot of, like, they didn't say organ failure, but, like, his organs were all messed up. She said that he's in septic shock or something because he didn't have solid food for 2 weeks. I gave him the right type of food, like baby food, healthy vegetable baby food and all that and yogurt, and it was good for him. But because he didn't have solid food for 2 weeks, his intestines got all messed up. His gut system, it got populated, like swarmed with bacteria that were growing, and just because of the diet. It's not that I gave him anything wrong, but because he didn't have the solid food to help push it and poop it out. So, anyways, his whole gut tract got messed up, filled with bacteria, went into septic, shock or whatever. It was poisoning his body, poisoning his organs. So, I mean, I thought it was bad enough that he just had a broken tooth, and I was hoping that it would reattach and heal, but he actually had two, his bottom teeth. I knew the bottom teeth were growing, and that was going to be a problem. It was probably not going to be an easy road for him anyways, but today was where he just succumbed to it and gave in. His body couldn't take it anymore. It's very sad because, like I said, when we got him, he was so scared of the world, and we tried so hard to make him feel comfortable, and I think we did, but he was only with us for a few months. I don't even think it was half a year. I lost all my other hamsters before him. Tally died suddenly. I had her for like 2 or 3 years, no, a year and a half or 2 years. Then the little fella died within a few weeks, within a month or so, and now Rocky has gone. So, anyways, that's what happened to Rocky, and they had to euthanize him, which wasn't very good, but they gave him sedatives first. So I had to say my farewells to my little buddy. But anyways, that's what happened to him. But he's a fighter. He fought so much. I kept telling him, Rocky, you're strong. I called you Rocky because you're strong, during the last 2 weeks. And he really did fight, man. Like, he lived up to his name. A lot of other creatures would have just given up and died just from the pain. But he fought, he went through it. And, he woke up, he was always happy to see me. And even in the last week, he was getting better because the pain, I guess, was going down a bit. But the teeth were loose and everything. So, but in the last week, he actually came out of his house, walked around on the floor. He even went in his bowl for a bit. I got a few little video clips. I regret once again not taking enough photos and videos of my loved ones. There's so many cute things that he did that I just don't have pictures of. I don't even have good pictures of him, really. But he came out in the bowl. But it means a lot because even though he was struggling and going through so much pain and suffering, and his body was shutting down, he still wanted to spend time with me. Like, when I open up the house, he'd immediately come out. He would want to climb in my hand, be in my hand. He would run around my feet. One thing Rocky really loved doing every night is after he would wake up at like 10 o'clock and then, do all his stuff for about 6 hours before going to sleep at 4 in the morning. But in that 6 hour period, I would put him back in his house for food and drink. Then he would come back out. He would chew on his cage door to come out, right? Which I kept telling him, you're going to break your teeth one day, but that's just what hamsters do with those cages. That's why you shouldn't get them. But I would always go back to the cage when I heard him rattling the door, let him out. But he would always say, the most fun thing to him every night was before he went to bed at like 4 in the morning, he would come out to play, and instead of going in his bowl, he wouldn't want to go in his bowl. He wouldn't want to run on the floor. I would be standing around him, and he would run around my legs and try to climb up on my legs. It was so cute because he wanted to spend time with me. It's like he had all his fun, his exercise, and he wanted to spend quality time with me. And he would demand it. Like, he would put his paws on my feet and look up at me and, like, try to climb up my leg. Sometimes he actually did climb up my pant leg, like a rock climber. It was ridiculous because he wanted to come up to my lap or go in my hand. It was so cute. And that was his nightly routine. And because he wanted to, be close to me or whatever, I would lay down on the floor and he would crawl all over me. So they love to climb. They love to climb. It's not very safe for them, but that's why I would lay down on the floor so he'd only be a few inches off the ground. And he would love to climb over me. He'd even climb over my face a few times. But he's so light, like, you don't even feel it. But he was a very sweet little boy. And I was always watching for his privates to develop his bowls, because hamsters end up getting pretty big ones, and that's part of being a boy. So I was watching him because when we got him, he was very young, and they're not really out when they're young. So I always told him, I was like, always check to make sure he's developing right. And he was still probably a young boy or not even a teenager yet. I think he was just going through puberty. And the cute thing is I've had male hamsters before, but he really acted hormonal, and he would mark his territory and everything like that, and always be brushing his fur against stuff. It was very cute, but he would never mark my legs. It was very interesting. But he would mark all. He had his little areas he would go and do stuff in. But some of the cutest things, I got him a little leopard, like a fake leopard skin, like fluffy soft stuff. Little hamster bed, little round thing, very plush, and he loved that thing. I put it in his house. And what he ended up doing is he wanted to sleep in it originally and looked so cute, but he gets cold at night, so he buries himself in the beddings, which is another unique thing. Every hamster has different behaviors, and so what he would end up doing is when he woke up at nighttime at 10 o'clock to go out and play, the hamsters always do their grooming first, right? So he would sit on his butt in the little leopard bed and start doing his grooming because hamsters tip while they groom. Usually they wobble or fall over now and then. Like he liked sitting in the leopard bed because it had like a cushioned ridge, like lip around it that was very plush, so he wouldn't roll over. So he'd sit there and like sit on his back, lay on his back, do his grooming. It was so cute, and like roll around in it. He enjoyed it so much. I had to take it out in his last 2 weeks because I didn't want him to chew more of the fluff out of it and get stuck in his tooth. Um, but that was one really cute thing he did. The other unique thing, that's unique, I've never had a hamster do something like that before. The other cool thing that he did was I put lots of beddings in his house, and he's the only hamster I've had that did this. He would dig like a little groove and nestle down like a little fluffy poof ball, and it would look like a little igloo. Like it wouldn't have a roof over it, but like he'd be nestled down into this little, like a scoop of ice cream in an ice cream cone. And it was so cute. And that's how he loved to sleep. And you just see this soft little fluffy poof ball on the top. But Rocky was cool because he had like a dark patch on his head, like a mohawk, or like Rocky Balboa's hair, like dark black patch, white fur, like whitish, grayish, creamish fur. And then he had like sideburns here. So it was so cute. Like he had sideburns and this little slick back hair. He's just like Rocky. But I did get to do some nice things, take him outside onto the porch. My hamsters really enjoyed that in their bowl. Showed them the stars at night. So I have some good memories with him. I wish I had more pictures and video, but it is what it is, and he's moved on now, but those are the things. And might as well. I'll do another memorial video, but his favorite food was broccoli. I didn't get to give him much else because he was so young, and you got to introduce him to food over time. But he loved broccoli a lot. I gave him carrots a few times, and he really loved carrots. I never really gave him fruit because I found out sugar is not good for them, so I decided no point giving him fruit. But he loved that Greek yogurt with the honey in it, chobani. So that was his food, basically, most of his food for the last 2 weeks. And he really, really loved that. So that kept him going those last 2 weeks. He gave me 2 weeks of time with him, but I mean, I guess even he, looking back, would say that, he might have suffered a lot in the last 2 weeks. If he had the choice, would he have just died when he got the injury, or spend those last 2 weeks, suffering? I think he would spend the last 2 weeks with me because every time I opened up his house, he would come out and want to spend time with me, even though it was brief. So he made that effort, and that's really meaningful to me. He really was a fighter. He lived up to his name. So that was my little Rocky. I guess one other unique thing he would do, every hamster runs different in a ball. And what he would do is, he was very good. He wouldn't ram into things like some of my hamsters have. He was very controlled. He was like a little racer. He was super fast. And he would make like little race tracks and just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And sometimes they would have like shape to him. And it's funny because he wouldn't hit things. Like it was this neat little racetrack, like a slot car, and he would just go like zing, zing on the floor and not bump into all the stuff that's there. And just do it over and over and over like he was trying to beat lap times. It was very funny. But those are the unique things that he did. Like I said, I'll make a longer video, but Rocky's moved on. It's extra tragic because it's not like he was old or anything like that. He had a long life, maybe 2 more years ahead of him. And I always felt so proud of him. I always told him, I'm proud of you because he got over all his fear and his, PTSD that he had as a baby. You know, he overcame so much. I want him to have a long life. So that's why it's extra tragic that he had to go now before he got to do so much else. Um, maybe he obviously wanted to have a girlfriend. You know what I mean? He had such nice, long, fluffy hair. When we got him, his hair was a lot shorter. And then when he was going through puberty, he turned into this huge poof ball. And it was the softest fur. He smelled so clean. Like each of my hamsters have like their own unique smell, but none of them are stinky. Like they have just a nice, clean, like normal human hair smell. And like Rocky just smelled the cleanest of the clean. It had like no odor to it at all. It was just like fresh and clean. It was funny. It was so soft. I mean, when he would run around my feet and I could feel it on my skin, just the softest thing ever. Um, but yeah, that was my little Rocky. Oh yeah, he would climb up on my shoulder too. So if I'm holding him in my hand because he wanted to climb me, he'd climb up my shirt and just sit on my shoulder here, which is dangerous, but he liked to do it. And he got really good, like Tally did, with balancing in my hand. So at first they don't, because like they want to jump off or fall off or whatever, but they balance all their little leg and foot muscles, and I could walk around the house with one hand. You know, that's a nice sign of trust between the two and learning each other's body movements. So that's special to me as well. It's a little thing, but it shows that he trusts me. Um, but yeah, and he loved. I made like a little jungle gym around his house. His house was on boxes, and it was actually for Callie before, but he loved it. He had like a little ramp and different things to climb over, and he would always like he would jump over um, this thing kind of like a horse jump. He'd jump over that all the time, run up and down the ramp. Oh yeah, this was cute. He would never do this if people weren't looking, but if I was there, he would try to show off. So he's doing his jungle gym. He would like run or jump over to his cage, climb the cage like a rock climber, and then the top is all smooth plastic, so they can't climb on top. So his little hand, he's gripping with one hand, holding his body weight, and you see his other little paw like reaching up over the smooth plastic, like trying to find something to grip. You find this tiniest little spot to grip and pull himself up like a whole body, chin up with one hand up over the smooth, edge onto the top. It was like so strong. When he got up to the top, he would like look at me, like old perky ears, perky eyes, like look at me, look how good I am. But that was very cute. And then he can't get down from there, right? So I put my hand out, climb in my hand, go down the floor, immediately run back up the ramp, climb up the cage, get back on the top. He'd do it 3 or 4 times in a row. Each time he'd stop and look at me like, "Hey, look at me, look at me, look what I did." Right? It was very cute. Um, but yeah, so I'll make another video tonight. But that's my boy Rocky. He's moved on now. So, anyways, God bless you, Rocky. Love you very much. He put up with more pain than I ever could. That's all I could say. I went through my lung clot for like 5 days. The bad pain was like for 3 or 4, I think. It was pretty torturous. But he went through worse. Like when I felt tooth pain, like when the dentist drilled my tooth, it was like the worst pain I've ever felt. 10 out of 10. Couldn't get worse. I just wanted to die. And it was only for a few seconds, because the anesthetic didn't work. So I felt the drill drilling into my tooth. But he broke both of his most important and biggest teeth right where they join into the jaw. He broke both of them. There's all this blood coming out when it happened. It was coated in blood. I couldn't even imagine the pain. And for 2 weeks to tolerate that pain, man, and the pain of his bottom teeth growing upwards and into his jaw, and the pain of the septic shock and the poisoning, and he went through so much, man. So I don't even think I could get through all that. So he was a strong little fighter, worthy of his name, Rocky. So live on, Rocky. Like I told him today, when he was about to go, I just said, I was thinking to myself, what would be the right words to say that he could, understand on a spiritual level. It's not like they know English. They might know some English words, like dogs or cats. But I just told him, I said, Rocky, it's your time now. I've never said something like that before. I was like, Rocky, it's your time now. Because he's so young, right? And I'm like, Rocky, it's your time. You have to go on. It's your time to move on. I'll see you another time, blah, blah, blah. But I said it like that, like it's your time to go now. Because I thought, he's young. He doesn't have all that life experience. It might be confusing to him. Why did he break his teeth? He was shocked when that happened, and he was like screaming in pain. That probably scared him. He didn't know why his teeth broke, right? He just figured, I'm trying to open my cage door, and then bam, all of a sudden, it'd be like getting shot in the mouth, right? So that confused him. and then 2 weeks later, his whole body's shutting down over those 2 weeks. It's probably all confusing to him, and he had that PTSD when he was a baby and all that. So just all that combined, I just figured he needed a different, little talk on the way out. So I told him, Rocky, it's your time to go. You know what I mean? And all that there. So I told him, go have fun, go play with my other hamsters, and wait for me. I'll be up there one day, and we'll all get to play together. So, but anyways, maybe all my hamsters, including Rocky, will be turned into some type of like hamster angel, and they'll get to come back. I just thought this was hilarious and cute. But like Rocky was such a fighter, I'm like picturing like Rocky coming back at the end days, and my other hamsters like in some, I don't know how. It's just funny, but even if they just remain as little humble hamsters up in the heavens, I'll go be with them one day, and we'll get to spend some more quality time with each other. Anyways, God bless you, Rocky. I love you, buddy. Take care.